Kansas City Sports Update Studios. Welcome to Kingdom Radio, where we talk about all things Kansas City Chiefs. Brought to you by Arrowhead Update. Join Kris and Richard on iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, Player FM, CastBox, and all third-party applications. Check us out on Facebook platforms such as Kansas City Sports Update and Arrowhead Update. And if you cannot find us there, Google or search Kingdom Radio and Kansas City Chiefs, and you will find us. Welcome to the Kingdom. Kingdom.
How are we doing, Chiefs Kingdom? Welcome to Kingdom Radio. I am your host, Richard Smith, and with me, I have my co-host and senior NFL analyst, Kris Chavez. Kris, how goes it this evening?
Doing fantastic. Looking forward to a big game tomorrow.
Yes. And look, we've got a nice Saturday evening ahead of us, but tomorrow, the Chiefs face off against the Minnesota Vikings at Arrowhead-Stadium. In a game that really has been boosted and highly talked about this week is probably the game of the week. And, with great reason. The Chiefs are a 3-loss team. The Vikings are a 2-loss team. And, this seems to be a great matchup all the way across the board. So we're going to get into it right now. Kris, look, the Minnesota Vikings have the number 1 offense in the league and the number 1 rushing game in the league. But the Kansas City Chiefs have had 14 sacks in the last 2 weeks, which is 4 more than any other team in the NFL. How are we going to stop that high-powered offense? Do we keep stacking the box and, going after the quarterback? Do you think that's our key to a victory here?
I think we have to stack the box, throw eight guys in there, and stop the run game. We have to shut that down. I would throw at least one spy on Dalvin Cook, if not even have like a safety spy him over the backside as well, and double team Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook is their offense is Superman. He has 823 rushing yards, which is more rushing yards than the entire Chiefs team combined.
Yes, the dude is an animal, and he has 9 rushing touchdowns already. Yeah,
and then you look at in the run game, he is their 3rd leading receiver, with 29 catches. He's been targeted 34 times, and he's got 293 yards. No touchdowns, but he's still a very utilized weapon in their offensive attack. We need to shut him down.
I absolutely agree with that, and I feel like the best way to shut down a player like Dalvin Cook, and at the most important timing, is to shut him down on first down. If we can stop Dalvin Cook on first down, I feel like that can be, a turning point, obviously, for each drive. If he's not getting getting off a chunk of yards on first, I feel like we can be all right there.
Yeah, because then the offense will be looking at 2nd and long, potentially 3rd and long, and that will help out our defense because then they'll take away the option of being a run attack on that 3rd down. If it's 3rd and short, then the defense has to worry about, is it a pass, is it a run? If it's 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9, and then they have to truly worry about what they're doing. Or they don't have to worry about what they're doing. They know that they're going to be passing the ball. So,
a lot of this game planning and stuff, and I feel like maybe on the defensive side of the ball it would stay the same, no matter what, with Spags across the board. But if Patrick Mahomes is playing, and even obviously last week he didn't against the Packers, I feel like that it doesn't hurt the Chiefs at all to send 7, 8 guys every single play. Because with how bad the defense was compared to what they're doing now, I almost want these teams to get a kill shot, once a game, but then that's it. Not have these consistent, 28-point games. And I feel like look, I know that the Vikings are rolling, but I will say this: Kirk Cousins is not Aaron Rodgers. And you get Kirk Cousins in those scrambling scenarios, it's going to be a long day for the Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah, that's never been part of Kirk Cousins' game. You make him uncomfortable, and his game suffers. And kind of going back to what you were just saying with shutting down Dalvin Cook, that's going to force the ball into Kirk Cousins' hands, and they're going to have to beat us in the pass game. Kirk Cousins is not that type of quarterback. Can he put together a good game? Absolutely. He's got two very good wide receivers in Stephon Diggs and Adam Thielen, who, for whatever reason, at the beginning of the season, they weren't using.
Right, and now combined, they have 10 touchdowns.
Yeah, and Stephon Diggs is all of a sudden their leading target getter and leading receiver. But the other thing about Stephon Diggs' game, he also has 4 fumbles on the season.
Ooh, and that's something that we can really, really hone in on in Kansas City. And look, Dalvin Cook has a couple fumbles as well. Kirk Cousins has 3. So that's something that I think that the Chiefs should hone in on. Every time, obviously, those are the primary players, but each one of them, has multiple fumbles.
Yeah, and I think what we're going to do is kind of like you said, we're going to stack the box with 8. We're going to keep Claiborne and Breland out on the outsides, potentially Charvarius Ward out there, who has been having a very quiet but fantastic season, and have them go one-on-one with Diggs and Thielen. You leave Thornhill over the top, and you got Honey Badger in the box to shut down the run, and you just say, come at us. And yeah, they're going to get some yards. They're going to get some first downs. Realistically, you can't shut down an NFL team like the Titans did, and remember the Titans.
Right.
They're going to gain yards. You cannot get so upset and offended and the sky is falling apocalyptic when the Chiefs give up yards, when they give up first downs. It's going to happen.
Yes.
But we keep them out of the end zone. And that's all we really need. Let them get field goals.
Yeah, and my thing is even with Matt Moore, let's say, and speaking of which, I want to throw this in there, Chad Henne is back on the roster now, taking off IR, and it's a great thing for the Chiefs. I still think they, put him behind Moore. But regardless, Moore or Mahomes, we're going to be able to move the ball. Okay, I guess my big thing here is I don't think that the Vikings offense compared to our defense can withstand the Chiefs offense compared to the Vikings defense, even though the Vikings have a really good defense. And I know that Stephon Diggs and Adam Thielen, have, big playability, and so is Dalvin Cook, and so is Kirk Cousins. But I've seen Kirk Cousins under pressure, and all we got to do is keep sending them. And like you said, make them beat us over the top, because I don't think they're going to. Even though they have that potential, Cousins is not a scrambling quarterback. You said it best. Get in his head, and we'll win that game.
Yeah, and the other key component to this game is you look at our cornerbacks. Our top 3 cornerbacks right now are all doing a very good job.
Yes.
Claiborne, we haven't seen him get beat for big gains. Thornhill has been lights out. Breland had if you take away the penalties, he's been doing pretty decent. And then Charvarius Ward, he's one of the top-rated cornerbacks against the pass this season right now. And so we don't, quote-unquote, we don't have a weakness in the secondary right now. On the flip side, the Vikings, they've got a weakness. Xavier Rhodes, their cornerback, has been targeted and picked on all season long. he's been getting thrown at and thrown at and thrown at. And with all of those opportunities, he only has 3 passes defensed.
Wow.
For the season.
So that's probably why Anthony Harris' stats look so much better, is because he's the one covering over the top when Xavier Rhodes is getting burnt every week. Because Anthony Harris has 3 interceptions on the season, and that was one thing I was going to hone in on is, more stay away from Harris. But if he's on Xavier Rhodes' side, we can definitely pick that apart. And I think that, I really think Matt Moore can do that.
Yeah, both of their safeties have been playing very well. Harrison Smith and Anthony Harris both have 6 passes defensed. Between the two of them, they have 4 interceptions. They've been very active in the pass game and covering for Xavier Rhodes. We're going to be able to dink and dunk, but take some big chunks as well when we mix up Xavier Rhodes. Just like with the Packers game, I expect Andy Reid to out-game plan and the Vikings offense or their defense. And the Vikings don't have the same level of imagination in their offense, whereas Andy Reid, as we saw last week, he can game plan and play call to put the Chiefs in a position to be successful, regardless of who we have on the field.
Do you remember the play against the Packers where McCole Hartman came in motion, and then he came around the backside of Moore, and then turned back around, ran the other way, and then caught a pass out of the backfield and ran up the field. I'd never seen so much motion in the backfield on one play in my life, and that's what I love about Andy Reid is he just is a magician when it comes to play calling. And yeah, I feel like he's going to outcoach Minnesota as well. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind.
Yeah, absolutely. And you go a little bit further on their depth chart, or you look at their 3rd, 4th cornerbacks, and they're nothing that they're not going to be able to hang with the D-Robs, who he needs to start stepping up. He's kind of been disappearing the last couple of weeks. He needs to reemerge back in our offense. They certainly don't have anybody who's going to be able to stay up with McCole Hartman. They're going to, or Cheetah for that matter.
Right.
They don't have the defensive speed to shut down those 2 guys. And again, I always say this, Kelsey needs to be Matt Moore's, again, I'm presuming that he's going to be the starting quarterback tomorrow. He needs to be Matt Moore's rock in the pass game.
Yep.
He needs to get open, and he needs to catch the ball.
He absolutely does. It's one of those scenarios where, I mean, we've seen it here, probably for the last 4 games. I don't know what's going on with Kelsey, but he's got to pull it back in there and get it together. And if we can just get a huge game out of him, I think it'll be obviously beneficial to the Chiefs, but I think it can be a game changer, That touchdown last week that he had, I mean, we needed that. If it wasn't for that touchdown, we wouldn't have even been in that game.
Yeah, no, that definitely started to set the tone, and it really showed the world, really, that Matt Moore was for real, because the awareness that he had on that throw, that Kelsey was looking the opposite way, and he needed to throw it the other way for him to be open, but he had to put so much air underneath that ball. That was a huge confidence boost, not just for Matt Moore, but for all of the Chief fans, and it caught the eye of everyone watching that game.
Oh, yeah. And I think that's just a testament to, Matt Moore's playing ability. After not even being on the field for over 2 years and taking an NFL snap, for him to hop in and do that kind of damage against a Packers defense that's really not that shabby, it gives me great confidence going into this game against Minnesota. I feel like we still have a good enough squad to beat this team.
Absolutely, and I think that a lot of Chiefs Kingdom is looking at this game and they're overlooking the Vikings because they're not on Green Bay's level. And honestly, the Vikings are just as good of a team as the Packers, if not in many aspects, even more dangerous than the Packers.
I feel like they're more dynamic than the Packers. You know, they have more ways to beat you. Don't sleep on the Vikings, Kansas City. This is not going to be an easy game. And, you know, like we said, this is the number one offense, number one rushing, and then top 5 in defense. So, I mean, and a Vikings team that's won 4 in a row. So that's something that the defense really needs to just get to them. I don't say we change anything up on defense. I'm happy with the way our corners are playing. They don't have to look. I don't feel like there's as much pressure on the corners because we're getting in there and getting to the quarterback, and that's the key. You have an offense, and like we do, you can go after the quarterback every single play and wear them out.
Yeah, and then let's also look back at that Packers game to look forward at this one. In the second half, what did Aaron Rodgers start to do that really beat our defense? He started to throw the ball and get rid of it in under 3 seconds.
Yeah. Yep.
Kirk Cousins doesn't really have that ability.
No.
And if Spags can play a little bit, or have the cornerbacks play a little bit more press and closer to the line from the snap, they're not going to be able to have that room to be able to make those catches. They're going to be contested balls.
And see, I feel like that we should take the same approach with our defensive backs that we've been doing with our defensive line and our linebackers. If we get physical and we stay physical the entire game, top to bottom on defense, like you said, that'll take away the small throws. If we're bump and running, if we're physical at the line, all the way across the line, I really feel like we can take this. The only thing is we just got to watch out for Dalvin Cook.
Yeah, and he's really going to be the key to their offense. If we can shut him down, that defense stays locked down and the offense won't move as much.
Right. So we have mentioned a lot of keys to this game, a lot of stats. We've run through a lot here in 20 minutes. How important is this game to the Kansas City Chiefs moving forward?
Well, right now we're sitting pretty at 5-3.
Mm-hmm.
And with the win, we'll move to 6-3, and we'll have presumably a 3-game lead over Oakland. However, if we lose the game, then we'll be sitting at 5-4, and we'll only have presumably a 1-game, possibly 2-game lead over Oakland, depending on how their game turns out.
Mm-hmm.
And even with a 1-game lead, as long as we have the lead moving forward, I'm okay with a loss here.
Right.
Is it crucial? No. Is it needed? Yes. Because as we move closer to playoffs, I mean, let's be real here. Looking at the Patriots' schedule heading out, they're very unlikely to lose 3 games or 4 games on the second half of the season. And so we can just throw out home field advantage because that's not going to happen.
Right.
Okay, and then we look at the other 2 teams that are leading as far as wins go. You got Baltimore Ravens and Indianapolis Colts both sitting there at 5-2. And so they're right in our wheelhouse. And we've already played both of them. We just need to get one more win than both of them in order to get the second spot where we'll be able to get the other home game in round 1 for sure.
And I will say one thing. We don't want to have a tie record with the Colts at the end of the season.
Or the Ravens.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it's okay with the Ravens, but
Yep.
the Colts, not for sure.
Yeah, we beat the Ravens, but the Colts, we don't want to be in a tie with them at the end of the season. So there is a lot of magnitude that goes along with this football game. And I'm with you. Do we need to win it? Should we? Yes. Is it going to kill our season if we lose? No, absolutely not. And we don't even have the best product on the field yet. There's still at least 3 key critical elements to our team that aren't even on the field, which is huge. But I still think we can come out of this with a win.
And just to kind of go back to the playoff picture, as long as we make the playoffs, we know whether it's home or away, we're going to be a huge threat to anyone that we line up against.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
And our main focus just needs to be get into the playoffs.
Right.
And just to look at it from another perspective, even if we don't win the division and we win the wild card, we still make the playoffs. We're still going to have a very good chance to make a deep run because at that time, again, in theory, unless some more of these come up, we will be healthy going into the playoffs. Everyone, quote unquote, will be back. Now, that's not to say that, injuries won't happen. I'm knocking on wood over here. They can happen. But all of our key injuries right now are projected to be back by the time that playoffs roll around. All we need to do is get into the playoffs.
That's it. And like you've said a number of times before on past episodes, is our season tip really doesn't even start until the playoffs. We already know. We know in Chiefs Kingdom. If we're not in the AFC Championship game, that's a disappointing season. This year, if we're not in the Super Bowl, we're highly disappointed. But I will tell you what. I'll tell you one thing. If anybody can take us with our back against the wall and take us to the Super Bowl, it is absolutely Patrick Mahomes. And then on top of that, you bring us a healthy Chris Jones, a healthy offensive line. It is going to be over. And these are going to be well-rested players. Our biggest key assets to our team are going to be more rested than most of the players in the NFL. And so, with that aspect, I don't have a problem sitting Mahomes 3 weeks because 4 out of 5 weeks, you mean Mahomes gets to sit and rest? Chris Jones has been resting. Our left tackle, I don't know why his name is eluding me right now.
Fisher?
Yes, Eric Fisher. Once we get these key aspects back, holy cow. We're competitive against one of the best teams, on either conference, and the Packers. That was a great football game. We showed the league that they still need to be scared of us without Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, it was definitely a statement game that it really put the entire league on notice. Watch out for us because not even 100% healthy, and we still took it to them and took it down to the wire. It looked fantastic.
Absolutely. And I don't look for that to change. I don't look for Spags to change up anything. We've got a lot of core pieces, to put pressure on any team and control the line of scrimmage. That's one other thing that we've done very well at is controlling the line of scrimmage. And Andy Reid digging up out of the graveyard, some plays. And I don't want to say out of the graveyard, but look, he's probably digging up Alex Smith's playbook for Matt Moore. And it's working, and I love, and that's one thing about Andy Reid that's been a staple of his, over many years is Coach Reid adapts to the players around him. He makes his system around the players that are in the organization. He doesn't bring players in and make them play in his style. It's his format, and that's one great thing about Andy Reid is. His play calling is all about talent and what he has around him.
And speaking of what we have around him, I'm not going to go into all of the injuries, but currently Frank Clark, Chris Jones, and Kendall Fuller are all listed as questionable to play.
Mm-hmm.
That's a huge jump up from doubtful or out.
Right.
Even if we can get one of these guys back, it's going to be a huge asset to us.
Yes.
But if we can get two of those guys, and nothing against Kendall Fuller, but I would prefer to have Chris Jones and Frank Clark for this.
Yeah.
If we can get those two guys back for this game, I think that the job of shutting down Dalvin Cook will be that much easier for us. Not saying it's going to be easy, but it'll be easier.
Oh my! And that's the thing too, is you put Chris Jones in a defense that has stepped up so much in the last 2 weeks. It's going to be nasty. It's going to be nasty. You think Kansas City's been getting after the quarterback already these last couple of weeks? Wait till that man steps back on the field.
Yeah, and I don't know if everyone in Kansas City or Chiefs Kingdom, for that matter, saw the article that came out. I believe it was on. I can't remember where it was. Anyways, they were talking about Frank Clark's injury. He had played the majority of the season, and with a neck injury, it had been bothering him for a while, and he was playing through it. And then finally against Denver, it just kind of came up and got to him to the point he couldn't play anymore. So if and when he comes back, presumably the injury is done with and he's coming back, quote unquote, 100%, and we could see a very different Frank Clark as well. And so a lot of the people who were harping on him and coming down on him, just keep in mind, you guys, that we don't always know what these guys are going through or dealing with.
Very true.
And I mean, you try playing with a neck injury and doing half the stuff that this guy did, and I give him a huge kudos for trying to play through it. On the flip side, like if your play's hurting, you got to speak up and let the training staff know, so that they can start to help you deal with this, that it minimizes its effect on your gameplay.
Yes, and it minimizes the effect of our overall team. So, yeah, I'm happy that he took a step back and realized that it was hurting himself and the team more than it was, helping. So I'd really love to see those three guys come off the injury report. I'm with you on that one. Obviously, I'd rather have Chris Jones and Frank Clark over Kendall Fuller, but I still wouldn't mind seeing Fuller on the field. Is it no mistake that our defense really has been stepping up since Claiborne came on?
Honestly, I don't think so. I don't think that the two necessarily were related.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was just coincidental.
Okay.
Because ultimately it was just kind of ironic that it happened like this, but with Mahomes going down, the defense said, we need to step up. I think Spags also said, we need to win this game, and he started making some calls that we haven't really seen him make in the games prior to the Denver game. We hadn't seen him calling for a lot of blitzes, and for whatever reason, he started to call them against Denver, and we saw the effect on the defense and how they really started to come together and play the way that we've always expected them to.
Yes.
And it just so happened that it was, I believe it was Claiborne's second game, but he started to see more significant time. I think that his play has definitely been aided by the fact that we're getting so much pressure on the quarterback. But quarterbacks aren't taking advantage of him, and we're not hearing his name called a lot because he's able to stick with his man and essentially lock him down.
And it's been, our secondary's been great since he stepped foot on the field, and maybe he does deserve a little bit more credit than we're giving him. I don't know. I'm sure it's taken some pressure off of, Charvarius Ward, like you said, who's having, pretty brilliant season this season quietly. But it's hard to. It's so hard. The Chiefs are a hard cookie because the Chiefs have the possibility to win every single game. As a fan, you want to see them win every game, especially this game against Minnesota. I firmly believe that we got it. Our defense is set, and we're adding pieces back to the puzzle. We're not taking pieces away. We're just getting stronger and stronger and stronger. Are we going to be at 100? No. But I still think that we can shut down Dalvin Cook and Kirk Cousins, and I think that's the key to this victory. If we do that and we stay consistent on offense, we'll be just fine. Heading to what, Tennessee? We have Tennessee next?
Yes.
So I'll tell you what. Do you want to go ahead and head into predictions, or is there anything else you'd like to add? Because we've gone through a lot in quite a short amount of time. I'm surprised. 30-minute show here so far.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and head into predictions because I think we've pretty much covered everything. There's really no secret to the Minnesota Vikings. They're pretty straightforward.
Yes, and it shows. They're first overall in the offense. So all we got to do is shut them down. Don't change anything. How do you shut down number one overall offense? Get to the quarterback, and that's what we're good at. So we'll continue this streak. 14 sacks in the last 2 weeks, 25 sacks on the season, which is fifth in the league. Let's get to Cousins. We got this. So let's go straight into predictions here. We got an Arrowhead game, here in Kansas City. So it's a home game. Has Kirk Cousins ever came to Arrowhead? I'm not sure if he has or not. I'm not sure if Kirk's come here. I want to say no. And a lot of these guys are young. Maybe none of their core players has played at Arrowhead before. That might be a big deal. So I'm going to say that this is overall going to be an extremely close game again. I say we take it 28-27. 28-27. The extra point wins it. 2 field goals by Minnesota loses the game for them.
I'm right there with you as far as the prediction. My prediction is 24-23 Kansas City.
Good deal. Before we get off here, how good will it feel to walk away? What will make you feel for Matt Moore and this Kansas City Chiefs offense if we walk away tomorrow with a win? We walk away tomorrow with a win.
Hold on, say that again?
How will it make you feel about Matt Moore when Kansas City walks away with a victory tomorrow?
I'm going to feel really good about Matt Moore, especially going into the Tennessee game. Honestly, I'm going to feel very differently about Chad Henne. I know that he was expected to be the better quarterback, and that's why we had him as our backup. But if Matt Moore can get us the win here, I'm going to be really nervous about what we're going to do with our quarterback situation throughout the rest of the season. Are we going to carry 3? Are we going to cut Matt Moore loose? I'll be more concerned about that than I would be on the flip side, I'm going to be really happy that we get the win, and I'm going to be really happy for Matt Moore. But I'll be worried about his future.
And this is one of those things that I think that it's a next man up scenario in Kansas City. The man proved himself. I see us letting go of Chad Henne. I mean, there's no reason to keep a player like Chad Henne who got hurt when Matt Moore stepped in there and did exactly what he needed to, and probably more than anybody in Chiefs Kingdom thought that he would. I'm not worried about it. I'm not. Matt Moore's a cheap addition. We got to pay more for Chad Henne. See you later, Chad. That's how I feel about it. And nothing against Henne, but, if he plays the way he should, I feel like we got our future backup quarterback and can probably get him at a really decent price.
But also looking at Matt Moore's age, how long are we really going to have him for?
Well, I mean, Chad Henne's no different.
Well, true, but Chad Henne, I believe, is at least a couple years younger.
Yeah, that's one of those things is like, how long does Matt Moore want to keep playing? How long does Henne want to keep playing? And regardless, we're good at backup. We should feel really good about where we're at and good about this game tomorrow. So Kansas City, that's our prediction. Our prediction is a win at Arrowhead Stadium. That'll put us at 6-3 and really set the tone for the last half of the season. Because we're there. We're there. We are halfway through the season. I can't believe that 2 months of the NFL season has already gone by, but there's a lot of football ahead of us, Kansas City. So, Kris, if that's all we have tonight, we want to go ahead and let Kansas City get back to their evening.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go Chiefs.
Let's go Kansas City. All right, Kris, I really appreciate you being on the show tonight. As always, it's a pleasure talking Chiefs with you.
As always, likewise, man.
All right, Kansas City. Well, you all have a wonderful evening. Go out and have a few drinks for me. Get prepared for this Chiefs game tomorrow. Go out there and tailgate, and let's go take it to these Minnesota Vikings. Let's come out of there with a victory, Kansas City. All right. Hey, it's Richard Smith, host of Kingdom Radio. I appreciate you all tuning in. Have a wonderful night.
Thank you for tuning in to Kingdom Radio, your go-to podcast for everything Kansas City Chiefs.